Constantine number 10, written by Ray Fawkes, art by Benny LaBelle. This is the next part of Forever Evil Blight. Last issue in Phantom Stranger, I believe. Phantom Stranger went to fight against Blight, got his ass handed to him, and then as he went back to the Justice League Dark group that's going on right now, Constantine made the point of like, man, why is God letting this happen? I'd like to go talk to God. And Stranger basically said like, yeah, all right, let's do it. So we see Constantine and crew going in through a mirror, and somehow they end up in heaven, or at the very least right on the outskirts of heaven. And as they arrive, they meet up with Zoriel, the Angel, and Spectre. And Constantine has already met up with Spectre, but Zoriel's a new sight to him. And he's just like, oh my God, Stranger, did you actually bring us right to the border of heaven? What in the hell is going on, man? And Zoriel shows up being like, Stranger, dude, we told you weren't allowed in heaven. And like, here you are. What are you doing, man? And he's like, let us go, Zoriel. It's important we go. And Spectre's just like, I'm sorry. You want to come into heaven? You want to come into this domain? I will smite thee. And he just throws his fist down right on top of Constantine. And as he pulls it up, Constantine's not there, and just like, all right, whatever, your little disappearing acts, but I'll kill the rest of your crew, and then I'll get back to you. And he picks up Stranger in his hand, and he's like going to crush it. And Zoriel tries to stop him. And Spectre's like, you don't have authority over me. I'm my own guy. But then God speaks up. And for anyone who isn't aware, God is a terrier. And God's just like looking at Spectre. He's like, hey, I have authority over you. Stop it, Spectre. So at that point, Constantine looks and sees that he's a terrier. And he's just like, I'm sorry. God is a dog. God is a talk. This is the voice of God. It's a talking dog. And Stranger's basically like, yeah, no, I know. It's a thing. Look, God, why aren't you intervening in Forever Evil, man? There's all this crazy ass crap going on down there, and you're just not doing anything. And God's like, good question. I will show you all. And he zaps each of their hearts with the light, and he's like, I shall give you understanding. So we get Constantine's perspective first of like what he's saying. And it's like, oh, Constantine, you are struggling with guilt and bitterness. You for what you did for your own family, you sacrifice everything you believe in, nearly nothing. And Constantine is like, all right, nope, screw that. I don't want to do this. And Spectre steps up. He's like, hey, God, I kind of said I'd be the one that dragged him to hell. Can I do that? Can we just do that now? And he's just like, no. Look, he's only mocking me. He's only like trying to get under my skin or whatnot because he doesn't believe in me and he wishes he did. So at that point, as Spectre's about to go reaching for Constantine, he runs in his head, Constantine's saying, like, I could use this spell if he touches me, and then I might, like, lose a limb, but it would capture the Spectre, and I could sell it back to God, and that way I could get his help to stop Blight and all that. And God's like, that's a pretty good plan. He's like, oh, crap, you can hear me? And it's like, yeah, no, of course I can hear you. Look, do you think starting a fight in heaven is the way to get onto my good side? Really think about that for a minute, bro. So God lets Constantine down and basically says, all right, look, here's the thing. What do you want? And he's just like, no, look, I know I'm damned to hell. I know all of that, but you have literally not done anything to intervene with your creation, Earth Zero down there, getting torn apart by like evil superheroes. Why don't you care? And God's like, I do care, but like, you don't understand. And he starts showing each of the different members of their group. First one's Phantom Stranger, being like, look, Phantom Stranger, he's a puppet. No matter what, he's being guided. He keeps on defying me, but he only keeps on truly serving my purpose. And he's frustrated that he doesn't know everything. And Constantine's like, well, tell him what he needs to know. Fix him. And he says, like, look, I can give him the power and the destiny of the savior. But in that case, he's only going to betray you, Constantine. Is that what you want? And Constantine's like, look, I can handle him. So then we go over to Pandora and just like, oh, she says she's fighting the good fight because it's the good fight. But like, is she doing it altruistically or is she only doing it to mask her own pain? And Constantine's like, who cares? The ends justify the means there, bro. And then we go to Deadman, and it's just like, oh yes, Deadman, he was a truly kind soul, but you put him in the body of a genocidal maniac, and when he finally turns over that consciousness, like, it'll be the end for all of you. At that point, Constantine starts throwing fists, and Zoriel has to hold him back. He's like, oh, I get it. You're just punishing us. This is what you do as the creator. You punish us because we're not good enough to stand up to your divine awesomeness. All right, you know what? Screw this. So he's already, like, done with this, but God continues. He's like, look, Swamp Thing, right now, all of the power on Earth has turned off, which means that the green is going to overtake. It's going to do well once people start dying off. And Nightmare Nurse, you don't even know what her deal is. And Constantine literally says, like, nah, like, seriously, I don't care. And he uses a spell and just fades away and tries to just disappear. And Zoriel's like, oh, hold on, I'll go get him. So they start zooming back through whatever portal thing they got going on. And at that point, he's like, oh, Zoriel's following me. I mean, that works, but I was kind of hoping it was going to be Spectre. And we cut back and we see Spectre's like, no, let me go get him. I want to go get him. And God's like, no, don't worry. I spoke, he listened. That's all that I needed to happen here. And he teleports back the rest of the Justice League Dark right after him. So as Zoriel's about to catch up with Constantine, Constantine just barely pushes through the portal. And as he does, he commands the house to make like a summoning circle to keep Zoriel contained. So as they all stand up, Justice League Dark is already standing around. And he's like, oh, hey, guys, cool. I thought I was going to have to save you guys from heaven, but yeah, no. Look, I stole an angel. And Zoriel's like, why? I can't feel God anymore. What did you do to me? And Constantine basically says, like, hey, guys, I'm sorry about all that. Like, that was truly stupid what was going on up there. He was telling us how worthless we all were. And immediately they snap back like, what do you mean, man? He was telling us that we could do it. He was telling us that we are like capable of doing this. And everyone heard what they needed to hear there. And like everyone speaks up that they had a good time. And then Constantine's like, oh, I get it. I get tormented, whereas everyone else gets the pep talk. That's great. You suck, God. So at that point, Zoriel speaks up for him, and he just steps out of the summoning circle. Like, he's able to just leave whenever. And he's just like, whoa, hold up. Let's slow our roll there. And Zoriel's like, no. Look, here's the thing. He twice blessed you. First, you have seen heaven with your own eyes, and now you can, on your own, turn towards the light. Ain't that something, Constantine? And he's like, okay, but like, are you going to do something? And he's like, no, look. I understand the creator's plan. I know he wants me here. I will help you in this fight. I've seen that your inner heart, you are fighting for love, fighting for Zatanna. So I'm all in. So he shakes Constantine's hand and it's like, all right. And God's okay with that. And he's like, yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know, whatever. So at that point, Constantine says, okay, we've got a chance now. House, take us to Blight. Let's end this fight once and for all. So next issue is Pandora. What did I think of this one, though? It was good. I gotta admit, I didn't quite get what God was saying. It did feel like he was putting each of the like people down as he was telling Constantine, but like it didn't feel like it had a purpose. And I mean, maybe that's the point. Constantine felt like he was supposed to be like punished or tortured there, but like even storytelling wise, I wasn't sure what God was getting at, you know? But, you know, mysterious ways and all that, maybe I wasn't supposed to understand. I don't know. Regardless, as a story, it kind of just felt like padding for a lot of it. It kind of just felt like, all right, last issue, we had Stranger take us into heaven. And by the end, the only thing that we want is Zoriel to join the team. So now we got that. And it just kind of felt like the entire middle bit was not even to justify it. It was more so just to have the issue, because Zoriel totally would have joined the team regardless at any point. It could have taken 3 panels where God's like, you're right, I should get involved. Hey, Zoriel, go for it. But yeah, we just had a whole thing where we had to test Constantine's, not even faith, but this like character, I guess. So all in all, I'd say this one's probably 7 up and out. It's not bad, but it did definitely feel skippable if it weren't for the one thing at the very end that's probably going to influence the rest of everything going on.